Hello friends, in today's video, let's see how we can design and manufacture a sculpture by the artist Meminal O.M. Nauda in Fusion 360. You will find this video different from my previous tutorials in more than one way. I always believed in learning and teaching Fusion 360 by making actual products. So this video will help you in not only learning tools in Fusion 360 design workspace, but also it will be introducing you to manufacturing workspace. So by the end of this tutorial, you'll be able to model your very own sculpture which can be milled out on a CNC. Please find the link to part 2 of this tutorial in the description of the video below. Here's a quick overview of our design journey for making our sculpture. This slide may look overwhelming for an absolute beginner, but don't worry, we are going to take one step at a time. We are going to design an object which can hold 21 mm by 21 mm wide wooden pieces. But it is always a good practice to make our designs more reusable. We should be able to make the changes quickly based on our requirement. For this purpose, we should be designing parametrically. What this means is we should be designing our tool holder in such a way that the same design can be modified easily when a tool of different dimension has to be fitted in another sculpture. Fusion 360 has parameters tool for this kind of design. Now let's start designing. We are considering the cross-section of wooden pieces as being variables in our future designs. So let's keep the rectangular slot dimensions which accommodate these pieces as parameters. So I'm going to the Modify tool where I can find the Parameters tool. So here in the User Parameters, I'm going to add a new parameter which is going to define the length of the rectangular slot. And I'm going to enter its value. The same thing for the width also. So now also fillet should be a variable. So here let fillet be another parameter. We can draw the outline of sculpture on a wooden piece and then use it as a reference for designing the object in Fusion 360. I have such an input which I am going to use as reference. You can use your own drawing to create a different outline shape. The drawing in this picture is made onto a wood it will be cut out from. So I'm going to insert canvas and from here I'm going to get the image. So here is my image. I'm going to place it on this plane. So here you can look at the dialog box. I'm going to accept whatever position and size that it is shown. Now images are dimensionless. So we need to calibrate them. So I'm right clicking on this figure and using the calibrate tool. So I can check the distance across 2 points on the physical object and then calibrate the canvas using the same 2 points. This distance is about 474 mm. That will make sure I'm sketching in a dimension which will fit the material I'm putting on the CNC machine. So here it is. It has got readjusted to 474 mm. This is just an approximate dimension. Now I'm going to create sketch and select this as my sketching plane. I'll adjust the canvas position. You can zoom in if you want, and I'm going to use spline tool to trace this contour. See to it that it is exactly matching or coinciding with the given figure. You can adjust these points later also. Like after I have traced, now I can adjust these points. Now I'm going to offset this figure. I'm going to offset it by 30 mm and I'm going to again offset by 30 mm. So on these contours that I have offset, I'm going to keep my rectangular slots and I'm going to use the pattern tool to bring them around these contours. So you can just see the dimensions clearly now. Now I have a question for you. Can I offset a line or curve created using offset option in Fusion 360? Please check it out and let me know in the comments. Now you can see I have my figure over here, and here I'm going to draw my rectangle. This is the place where I'm going to use my parameters that I've created. So this is the width and this is the length parameter. Also, I'm going to give fillets, and while dimensioning the fillets, I'm going to use parameter. So the thing is, if you want this parameters to be changed, I can directly do it from the table without editing the sketch. So the sculpture will be ready to accommodate different sized rectangles. Now I'm going to copy this rectangle and move it onto the second curve and then onto the third curve. See to it that there is enough gap between them. Now I'm going to exit from the sketch. So here I'm going to use Extrude tool. I have selected everything together because I need the contour first. So automatically the sketch becomes invisible. Now I'm making it visible. Now I'm going to Extrude option and I want to make this rectangular pocket. So for this, when I'm trying to select, if you notice, I'm not able to select it because the extrusion has been done on the other side. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it to the other side so that my sketch is easily selected. If you do not want to do this, you can also make the body invisible and then select the contour. But for convenience sake, I'm going to give it this as -18, and here now you can see I can easily select the sketch. So now I'm selecting the option Extrude and I'm going to select this rectangle and make the pocket. I'm giving it as all and then I'm going to flip the direction. So the same operation I'm going to repeat for another rectangular pocket. You must be wondering why I do not do this in one option or one go. I can select all the three rectangles. But there is a reason for this which I'm going to explain shortly. So now I have created three pockets. So for each pocket I want to make the pattern along the path. So now you know why I have made three separate features instead of one, because otherwise I cannot select three paths for three respective pockets. So individually I'm going to select the pocket and then I'm going to place these pockets onto that path. So here I'm giving some random number. I'm trying to see the positioning, and also it's a good practice if you choose spacing instead of extent. So this looks good for me. I would like to change the direction of these slots from identical to path direction. But here if you can see, these two pockets look very close to each other. So what I can do is I can keep editing the number of holes, the distances and all others till I get satisfied with the spread of these pockets. So for the second one also, I'm going to do the same thing and I'm going to spread it onto this path. So if you can see the stick marks, if I'm going to remove those stick marks at those places, pockets are not formed. So after giving all the patterns, you can see that some holes are very close to each other. By editing pattern along path for these pockets and unchecking some pockets, I can adjust the distances between these holes such that the strength of the sculpture is not deterred. So this is the result that I have got by adjusting so. Now, there are places where we can add slots as they are very distantly placed. For this, I'm going to sketch some rectangles and manually add these holes. Let's switch out the visibility of body as I can select only the present rectangles and not any parts of adjacent slots. This way, when I copy and paste using Ctrl C and Ctrl V, the dimension parameters are retained. So after copying and pasting, I can make slots by extruding it. So now I would like to add some color to this. So I'm going to choose some wooden color. For this, I'm going to click A in my keyboard, which is for appearances. So from the library, I'm going to select a wooden texture. I'm selecting mahogany. The actual material that you can see in the image is oak. Please find the link to part 2 of this tutorial in the description of the video below.